Red vs. Blue is an American web series created by Bernie Burns, co-founder, former chief executive officer, and former chief creative officer, with his production company Rooster Teeth, using machinima, a form of animation or technique, whatever you want to call it, where you record gameplay footage in a way to make it look like a movie, preferably with a free roam camera with little to no UI. The series is created within the base engine of the iconic franchise Halo itself. Red vs. Blue is one of the most popular internet franchises ever, is probably the most popular machinima ever, and the legacy franchise that has brought Rooster Teeth to where it is now, as one of the biggest production companies on YouTube, if not probably the biggest. Machinima, while quite the obscure community and genre within itself, owes its fame to RVB. It wasn't the first of its kind, but it was kind of the pioneer, the grandfather to it all, to really bring machinima to the limelight.
Yeah, so much for that.
So, Red vs. Blue Seasons 1 through 5, aka the Gulch Chronicles. Let's get into it, shall we?
Are we the product of some cosmic coincidence, or is there really a God watching everything, with a plan for us and stuff? I don't know, man, but it keeps me up at night.
What? I mean, why are we out here, in this canyon?
Oh, yeah.
What all this stuff about God?
Nothing.
You want to talk about it?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Seriously, though, why are we out here?
That is a great question, so why don't I answer that question by drawing it in paint? This is Blood Gulch. We have two bases, red, blue. You know what, let me add a little white in there. There we go. This is their Warthog, and that's red team right there. So let's move on to blue team. Hold on, I think I actually have to make that one. That's the tank. Then we have Doc, who's not part of anything. We forgot our little buddy here, Vic, but we don't know this yet, but he's right here. He's right there. So this is the red team and this is the blue team, and what they're trying to do really is try to take each other over. They try their best, but they really can't. But that's just the whole premise, is that they're kind of they're bad at what they do, so they suck. And that's the premise of Red vs. Blue. For the most part, this is what is referenced when talking about Red vs. Blue, the first few people of the first few seasons. Later down the line within the Chronicle, we get Wyoming and Gary and Sister and all of them, but those guys are all side characters really. What we have here is called an ensemble cast, which is a group of characters that are the main characters. There's no main protag, they're all equally important, which is the biggest strength of Red vs. Blue, at least when talking about the Blood Gulch Chronicles. For me, the characters make up the essence of Red vs. Blue. I watch RVB for the many assortments of character interactions, character development, and all the quirks and jokes they bring to the table. From the relationships within the red and blue teams, to the relationships between red and blue team, to the relationships between both teams and the outside, there is a lot of fun to be had with this assortment of characters. So let's go over them. You got Simmons, the brown-nosed know-it-all who goes cuckoo for cocoa power when he finally gets it. You got Griff, the lazy ass of the group who's never listening in and always behind on everything. You got Tucker, the ladies man who doesn't actually get ladies, because hello.
What chicks are we gonna pick up, man?
There's Church, who's a leader, but he's an asshole. There's Sarge, who's a leader, but also an asshole, but also a mechanic. The other one just sucks at sniping. There's Donut, who's a moron, but light as red. There's Caboose, who's a moron. Sheila is a tank who has a pretty smart AI, all things considered. She's caring, but a bit psychotic at the same time. Lopez, the heavy, is a robotic mechanic who's always misunderstood because he's stuck on Spanish. You got Tex, who's a badass, who's also managed to get defeated somehow. She actually carries an AI called Omega, who makes people angry and violent when they get possessed. Which brings us to Doc. Doc is a pacifist medic, whose main goal is to make dying feel less painful, more so than healing them. But once possessed by Omega, he's O'Malley, an evil villain type character that will murder everyone and take over the world, but fails to do so. Lastly, you got Vic, the Reds and Blues' only way to contact their military and get them assortment of resources, whether it be a warthog, a medic, an airstrike, another soldier, maybe another airstrike. I don't fucking know. He's also really funny.
I'm sorry. Something went wrong with my radio, and I heard this weird beeping.
Hey, no offense
honking.
taken, dude. Don't got any kids anyway.
What?
Old Vic's been through the snip and stitch, if you know what I mean.
I don't want to hear about that.
Winky Blinky, the one-eyed sergeant's firing blanks.
That's weird.
If you get me.
Look-
It's via con Dios to the vast deference.
Yeah, all right. Enough. I get you.
I love the many different kinds of interactions everyone has. Obviously, you have the same team interactions, which are givens to be funny, but then you see them cross over and it's one hell of an experience sometimes. There's definitely a more interesting clash crossing over than just talking amongst themselves. I'm gonna be real, the story slows down during seasons 4 and 5, when they're just mostly just doing things for themselves rather than interacting with each other. I actually don't mind when they're amongst themselves in the earlier seasons, and those times apart simply build up for what they're gonna do when they cross over. But man, 4 and 5's beginnings kind of slog until they pick up at the right time. I don't know, it seems like more was going on in the earlier seasons than the later seasons, but I digress. Getting into the side characters, probably my most favorite has to be Vic. Anytime he's on, he is such a treat. Always just cracking jokes and being the coolio dude bro. When he finally becomes that brilliantly chill earpiece man in season 2, he's so much more fun. As for the rest of the side characters, I like Gary. He's kind of fun. Mario made it so that the ending of season 5 was awesome. Andy's kind of cool at the end as well. Sister's kind of annoying, not gonna lie. The side characters, when they interact with the mains, however, amplify the mains. Text interactions with Wyoming add lore! After Kakana comes in, Griff's such a sweet character, and I'm all for it. Caboose with Andy is quite funny because it implies Caboose actually has somewhat good people skills somehow. And I swear, anytime the guys call up Vic, they're sometimes the most interesting convos in the arc, just because they're so damn funny. I can go on about the relationships between each guy, just amazing times the characters outshine the story. Oh, and I mean that. I'm not going to say the story has too many problems. Far from it. I think the story is quite good, and while it does toe the line between good and plot-hole-mania, it does cover its tracks pretty well. I was the most suspicious when it came to Yellow Church's callback in season 5, but really focusing on it, it does follow the rules of the world, and even does it at a really great time when the time travel shenanigans came to be. But while the series does understand its rules and contain itself pretty well, that doesn't stop it from being boring sometimes. It's actually quite the cool concept, having machinima be used as the main visuals, and is executed very well with RBB. But sometimes, things do in fact drag on. There are times when the series is them bickering and just standing around doing nothing, or even just being assholes to each other for no reason. And I mean, it's funny, and it does lead to something in the end, but seasons 4 and 5 have them get really annoying with each other, be unlikable, or just flat out do things I am not interested in at all. It just feels like filler sometimes, because there were times when the situations were avoidable or completely excessive when it didn't need to be. It didn't help that Halo 2 artistically just doesn't look that good. Halo CE has a charm to itself, it's bright, and it looks more clean because it's smoother with its graphics. Well, archaic by nature. Halo 2 honestly looks like crap. I can't blame RVV with that since it's not their fault, but it does take part in the feeling of seasons 4 and 5, with 5 being a lot of brown because they're back in Blood Gulch. But I still think the visuals and story are great to say the least. I do think the characters overshadow those things, but that's just because the characters are just so fantastic and just way up there. But the story and visuals are not really that far behind. Speaking of story and visuals, let's talk about music. That didn't sound right. Huh. Maybe there's a better way to... I think I got it. Okay. But you know what is all the way up there? The music. Fucking got it. Yeah, that was it. That was it right there. That was it. The credit music is where you'll find the best music, despite the intro and the sound cues that are also full-length songs if you actually take your time to go search it up. There is full-on credit music created that is separate from the actual series, but so damn catchy.
the sparkle in the sky. Yellow sun, steady and surreal in a world of lost and found.
All of the music is created by the legendary Trocadero. I don't know. A lot of the well-known transition tunes are created by them and are a big part of RVB's identity, especially RVB's most iconic intro tune. The music gives RVB such a chill vibe despite being quite cartoony and off the walls. It just matches the low-stakes vibe that is the Blood Gulch Chronicles, and helps it be remembered as the time when RVB was just simple. But now that we mentioned the zany plots, let's talk about the comedy aspect of Blood Gulch Chronicles, because this is what most people point out to when they say this era is the best. And while I agree to disagree, I gotta admit, comedy is probably what this arc is king at doing. I didn't laugh at all the jokes during my rewatch because I have watched it about 5 times over, but there are sneaky ones that do get a laugh out of me, and I can't ignore how funny it actually is.
I don't think they're going for it.
Oh, motherfucker!
Okay, now you're under attack. Go ahead and surrender, bitch. I was thinking, Simmons. The humanity.
All right, they surrender. Fuck that. I'm pissed. Let's fight.
I am Tucker. This is church. That's Bitch Pants McCrabby. Hey, well, that's what we call you.
Not me. I call you Mrs. McCrabby.
Thanks.
Allow me to introduce Francisco Montague Zanzibar. Man, this one over here is robot number 2.
Sorry that I blamed you for killing me all this time.
That's okay. I'm sorry I enjoyed blowing you up so much.
Yeah, I don't think it was necessary to tell me that.
No, don't duck. That makes you harder to hit. Act like a duck. Wait a minute, that was my turn. This is the lightning round. Who's in the lightning round? Me.
The added zany plot points are also a big adder to the whole thing, if a bit less significant. While I do admit the ideas of Tucker being pregnant, Donut being stuck with pink armor, O'Malley kidnapping Lopez and creating a robot army that is way too slow at moving are quite the funny ideas, I personally prefer the regular jokes. I think the scenarios are fun, but I definitely get more laughs from just the talking. This is especially amplified when they have running gags. They're like the motifs of comedy.
That doesn't seem physically possible. This doesn't seem physically possible.
This doesn't seem physically possible.
That doesn't seem physically possible.
They're just standing there and talking.
Do you guys ever get anything done, or do you just stand around and talk all day?
Just stand around and talk.
Shotgun.
Shotgun.
Suck it, blue. Suck it, blue. Suck it, blue. And you too, white. You suck it, cracker. Ow, gee, the back of my head. Ow, geez, the front of my face. Ow, the back of my lower leg. Ow, the side of my head. The back of my face. The front of my foot. Son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch!
Son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch! Son of a bitch! Son of a bitch!
Son of a bitch.
Madre de Dios!
No, but I mean, even if we were to pull out today, and they were to come take our base, they would have 2 bases in the middle of a box canyon. Whoop-de-fucking-do.
It looks like the Reds pulled out. Does that mean we win?
I suppose so. Guess we have 2 bases in the middle of a box canyon now.
Whoop-de-fucking-do.
Hey,
Yeah?
you ever wonder why we're here?
It's one of life's great mysteries, isn't it? Why are we here?
And so we come to the end. Red vs. Blue, the Blood Gulch Chronicles, is a really fun series. Being real, no other Machinima in general beats Red vs. Blue for me. This is actually far from the first, and I didn't actually check it out and just sit down and watch it until season 11 finished. But it quickly became my favorite and is the best, hands down. As a series, there are plenty of flaws, especially for casual watchers who don't like video games or can't get past the static, non-expressive movement. But really looking past that and into the dialogue and characters, RVB BGC is really something special. It's a great show with great potential for its time, and if it stayed where it was, it probably would have been a respected yet forgotten relic, but became a legend, and it had to start from somewhere.
Took out the trash, made my pills all